Here we have a 2010 27-inch iMac that came in for repair. Customer attempted to replace the hard drive with an SSD drive, and in the process, he damaged the LCD connector. The connector is completely ripped off the board, and that's one big connector. It's bigger than any iMac connector out in the market. Some of you may be asking, why fix this iMac? It's an older one. Why not? The device is fully usable, and there's no reason why you would want to throw this in the trash. I'm still using a 2009 iMac over there. Right over there. I use it for data recovery, and I have another MacBook connected to an Apple screen that I use for data recovery right over here. So I have two machines. They could be running at the same time, recovering data for customers. 2010 is a good machine, and there's no reason why you would want to throw this in the garbage. So customer brought it in, he loves the machine, and he wants the connector replaced. And that is the reason the customer opened this up to upgrade the hard drive to an SSD drive, because he likes it. I told the customer, I hope that we do not have any ripped pads. And the connector is so big that I cannot fit the whole connector under the microscope. Look at this. I have to move the iMac left and right for us to be able to see the whole connector. And I need to be able to see the whole connector because when I put the connector on the board, I want to make sure the far left is aligned properly with the far right. Otherwise, you're going to have a crooked connector. So what do we do in this case? For those of you who purchased the microscope from us, and we have all new microscopes in stock right now, the red one with the NorthridgeFix logo, that's an older one here. It used to be called version 2.3, but now we have a newer one. Our scopes, they come with the main lens, and they also come with something called the Barlow lens, which looks like this. Let's use the 0.75 Barlow lens. And what the Barlow lens allows you to do is raise up the microscope more so you can see more on the board. Let me show you what I mean. For those of you who do not know what a Barlow lens is and what's the use of a Barlow lens, because I have some people who purchase the microscope from us, they ask, what is the Barlow lens used for? Do you use it? Of course, I use it when I want to see more on the board. Right now, if you look here, I'm able to see maybe 50% of the connector, and I'm zoomed out all the way. If I raise up the microscope, then the scope will go out of focus because that's not the range of the scope. I can see as much as this using the regular lens. So if I want to see more on the board, we provide two Barlow lenses with the scopes that we sell. So this one here is 0.75. Let's try it. We also have the 0.5 and the 0.35. I found out that the 0.35 Barlow lens is not really that useful because you have to raise up the microscope up so high to a point where the articulating arm cannot go up that high. And you do not want the scope to be all the way on the ceiling. So 0.75 is great. If 0.75 does not cut it, you can change to the 0.5. Right now I have 0.75. Let's see how that does. You see, we can raise up the microscope more, and now I'm able to see the whole connector. Look at this. I'm able to see the connector from side to side. So if I have the connector on the board, maybe we can do this, okay, so you can see the screen more. And that's what I love about this articulating arm. We also carry and sell this arm in NorthridgeFix brand. I think we only have 2 left in stock right now. We have a shipment on the way. A very popular arm, very sturdy, and you can control the arm in any way, shape, or form. If you look here, now I'm able to see the whole connector. I see all the pins, and it looks like we have a rib pad on the side here, on the left, but that's okay. Not a problem because we can secure it from the right side. And when we insert the cable, we just have to be careful. So the connector will be soldered all the way from the front. And as you can see, the connector is not even on the board because it was completely ripped off the board. Now when we have the connector on the board, we can tell if that connector is fully aligned or not. And that's why it's so important to see the whole connector when soldering, instead of having to go back and forth with the scope. So the first thing I want to do is clean up the pads. We're going to apply genuine Amtech Flux. And we are a distributor of the Flux. I keep mentioning this for all new viewers. It may get old for old viewers on the channel. I keep mentioning Amtech Flux, but bear with me. I do this for all new viewers. We have new subscribers every day, and we keep mentioning that we sell everything that we use here, from soldering stations, hot air station, thermal cameras, power supplies, Amtech Flux, braid wick, tweezers, grinding pen, everything that we use, we carry and sell on our shop. All items are in stock, and we almost always ship out same day. Add to cart, check out, pay, and your order will ship out same day. Buy with the eyes closed, because we already went over and tested most of the products that we carry and sell. So that's your advertisement of the day. You're gonna hear it in every video. If you're an old viewer, bear with me. Don't be selfish. This is a business, and we're not doing this just for your entertainment. I can entertain you for a day, 2, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. But at the end of the day, this is a business. We need to make money along the way. We're not gonna just sit and look at your pretty face. Some viewers, they get bothered when I talk about our products. 50% of them I block, so they do not comment again. They can still enjoy the videos and watch. But if nothing good is coming out of that person, but complain, why comment? Just block him. He can still watch, enjoy the videos. We still make money off him watching the videos from ads on YouTube. It's a win-win for us, but he cannot comment. Let me turn the camera right here, because you're talking to a computer and not to a real person. I just realized that. AI, artificial intelligence. The iMac is talking with my voice. That wasn't me. And the pins are still stuck on the pads, so we have to be careful not to rip any pads. But in the meantime, in the process, look at this. Look at the soldering iron tip. I grabbed like 5, 6 broken pins of the pads. So we have to be gentle. We do not want to force it, unless you plan to rip pads off the board. Gentle, nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. You're working on an iMac. You're not cutting an apple. So we have a lot of unleaded solder on the board. What we need to do is we're going to apply leaded solder so we can lower the melting temperature of unleaded, and then we're going to wick off solder, put the connector, and solder the connector pin by pin. Right now we can wick off unleaded solder, but it's not recommended, because you may rip pads off the board. So what we do is we apply leaded first. Leaded will mix with unleaded. And when leaded mixes with unleaded, we lower the melting temperature of solder. And that way we can easily wick off solder. And if you look here, I'm not wearing gloves. If you were asked in yesterday's video, how come sometimes I see you wear gloves and other times you do not wear gloves? I wear gloves when I feel it's gonna get messy. It's always better to wear gloves so you do not touch any chemicals with your hand. I do wear gloves more often than not wearing gloves. But right now, I'm not wearing gloves. Because you have to remember, when you're touching solder, flux, low melt solder, those are chemicals. You need to wash your hands afterwards. Do not scratch your face. Do not put your finger in your mouth, trying to clean from in between your teeth. Do not put your fingers in your nose. You need to wash. You know how doctors always wash their hands, or they recommend that we wash our hands before eating? My daughter, she's 7 now. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have a 7-year-old, Miriam. And I have a 4-year-old boy. So my 7-year-old, she asked me that question: why do we have to wash our hands before we eat? I got her into the shop here, and I told her to put her finger under the microscope. She got scared. She put her finger and she found hair, she found elephants, giraffes, a forest on her finger. You look at your finger, it looks clean. Put it under the microscope, you're gonna see wonders under the microscope, especially on your nails. You know how when I cut my nails at home, I make sure the nail is perfectly cut. When I put my finger under the microscope, you see mountains there, like this, even though I thought I cut my nail the right way, but when you're looking under the microscope, everything is different. But then again, immunity is important. You need to let kids get dirty, scratch their face, get sick, heal, get sick again, heal. That's how immunity is built. So I do not really enforce the washing of the hands for every single thing that they do, except when they want to eat. Before they eat, they wash their hands and then eat, just as a safety precaution. But otherwise, they can do whatever they want. And when they start to smell like chicken, go to the tub and take a shower, almost every day or every other day. And when I say smell like chicken, you know how when you go to a chicken farm, when kids play a lot, they start to smell like that. So we're gonna align the connector. And the connector looks perfectly aligned, right? Almost. Let's give it some slack. Just imagine you're only looking at one half of the connector. You can somewhat tell the connector is aligned, but when you're looking at the whole picture, and we are able to look at the whole picture because we are using the Barlow lens, it becomes more apparent. Okay, so we're gonna apply a tiny bit of flux right here. If we touch that connector, it's gonna move. So we're gonna apply flux wirelessly without touching. Write that in your books: applying flux wirelessly. Okay, now we're gonna do the other end also. Secure it, and then we can go over the pins one by one. And I'm running out of flux. I'm squeezing the syringe as hard as I can. And I think I squeezed every drop of that syringe. Okay, so I'm gonna grab another one. I grabbed another syringe right here. And I'm gonna remove the tip or the needle from this one and put it on the new one. And that's original Inventec Amtech Flux. And this one is garbage. One question we had yesterday, you never mentioned if we should put the flux in the fridge. Absolutely not. You do not put the flux in the fridge. You just keep it on your bench. It will last you years and years and years. A lot of companies, they put a 1-year date on their flux, but it doesn't matter how long you put the flux on your bench. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It doesn't matter. Do not put the flux in the fridge. Just keep it on your bench. You live in the desert or you live in Alaska, it doesn't matter. Just keep it on your bench. Do not overthink it. It's not like you're storing diamonds. What's the worst that can happen? Let's say something did happen to the flux. Big deal. The customer is a follower of the channel and a very polite person. He said, I understand that you have a long queue, so just take as much time as you need. And when we have a customer that talks in that manner, I tend to expedite his service, even though he did not pay for expedited, but he was polite, and you have to give something in return. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I mean, if you want to tell somebody what's wrong with you, you can make it sound nice or you can make it sound ugly. If you say it like, what's wrong with you? It sounds rough on the edges. But if you say, what is wrong with you? It sounds like you're joking. Just remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Let's zoom in so we can inspect those beautiful joints. And we can tell that every single one is soldered. We do not have to check, but I'll go over them anyway. Since we are done with the Barlow lens, let's remove it. What you have to understand is the closer the microscope is to the board, the more quality of light you will get from the ring light. If that ring light is all the way on top here, it's gonna shine light on the board, but it will be harsh light. The closer the light is to the object, the better. I have a big soft box right over here pointing at my face. If I have that soft box all the way in the back, it's not gonna be soft light anymore. Just like the sun. When the sun is up in the sky, even though the sun is much bigger than Earth, but because it's so far away, it looks like a tiny, small dot. It's gonna point harsh light at you. If you're standing under the sun, you will notice shadows under your eyes, under your chin, under your nose, because it's harsh light. But if that light was closer to your face, you will get soft light or better light. You want to diffuse that light to get a soft light source, and that's why the soft box, the one I have here, has 2 layers of white sheets, and it provides even light. And in case you're wondering, this is a pole buff soft light. I have 4 of them because it was my hobby to experiment with lights, photography, and all that good stuff. Let's go over the pins. Not that I have any doubts, but just for the sake of completing this video, we want to do the solid test. Every single pin is super solid. And of course we all know that, but it only takes 26 seconds and a half to go over the pins. Why not? We're done. So I'm gonna hand this iMac over to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and I'll be back to finish the video. That's one big iMac. All right, so we connected the screen cable. We connected another cable here. We connected this cable right there, and finally and this one is connected, and now we're gonna let go. Nothing. We did hear the chime, but nothing. The connector is soldered on perfectly, so right now it's not a connector issue. Oh, right there. Okay. I do not know why it took long, but right there. Wow, I thought that maybe the backlight circuit was blown or something else is going on, but the connector is 100% soldered perfectly. And I had no doubts that the problem was not the connector. Great. iMac is working, everything is good. Thank you, Big Boss, the boss of all bosses. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video. That's my dad.